Hi, Graham Park here from Shooters Union. Sorry about the rough background. We've just been doing some cattle work earlier, and this is pretty quick stuff. I got to get out to you. But I was horrified yesterday in a meeting I was in. Basically, we've now got weapons licensing in Queensland wanting to have the law changed so that if you have been charged with something and then found innocent or had the charges dropped, or if you've had, some minor thing and had no conviction recorded, that they want to be able to use that to essentially likely not give you your firearms license. That's pretty much where it's at. And it's kind of shocking when you hear someone say, well, just because they've been charged and either the charges dropped for no evidence or found innocent, we should still take that into consideration. To me, that goes against the whole basis of the legal system, as does no conviction recorded. That's there for minor offences. And if the magistrate thought that was important, there was some minor offence, why should you be punished for it? Now, the reality is they've been looking at this in the past, and they recently had a court case. Someone took them to court and said, hey, you shouldn't have, the only reason you didn't give me my license is because I had an old no conviction recorded. And I think in that case it was for a very, very minor drug thing for some time back. And you go, well, it doesn't sound that unreasonable. And I'm not sure one's got to do with the other. They're even talking about speeding tickets should be taken into consideration. And I know they've done this at some time, but they're trying to get legal protection to do it by having a law change. Now, does that upset me? Sure, and I think it upset most of our members. However, with that in mind, you've got to look, there's some history here. Last year, the Labor government put up a bill called Community Safety Bill. We opposed it on a number of grounds. One of the grounds we opposed it was because they wanted to have this no conviction recorded be taken into consideration. We had legal advice. We took it to Mark Ryan, the former Police Minister under Labor, and to his credit, he said this is very concerning. He didn't realise it was in there. We sat down with the Leader of the Opposition and with the Shadow Police Minister, Dan Purdie, who's now Police Minister in Queensland, showed it to them. They agreed. They worked to fair. Dan Purdie worked very hard not to get this through. Every party in Queensland, the ALP, the LNP, the KAP, and even the Greens agreed it was a bad idea to include no conviction recorded. Every one of them agreed. And here we have 9 months later, 10 months later, weapons licensing is coming back and trying to have another bite at the cherry and saying, oh, well, that didn't have anything to do with this. Well, yeah, it did. It's the exact same thing you want. And they're also claiming that this appeal that didn't go their way, changed everything. It didn't change anything. It just affirmed what the law has always been. No conviction is no conviction. Being found innocent or having the charges dropped as if it never happened. You shouldn't be punished. What if you got charged with something and they suddenly realise a month later it's someone else, it was the wrong name or something, and they dropped the charges and they apologise and you understand and the court system worked. And then 2 weeks later you get a letter from weapons licensing saying, well, you were charged. And you go, wait a minute. Why do we have courts? It just doesn't sit well. Anyway, they want to see this go through Parliament. We obviously don't. We would suggest that please go see your local member. Be nice, because your local member voted against this last year. Whatever electorate you're in Queensland, whatever party, that elected official actually voted for this not to happen because their party chose to disallow this in the Community Safety Bill. This section was taken out, and it was a bit of a win for everyone in Queensland and the legal system. Queensland Law Society, everyone wanted it out, and it was out. And now it's back, and it's as if, this is a little change. It's not a little change. I talked to a senior lawyer yesterday who said this is a major change because it really threatens a whole lot of things with the legal system, but they will argue, we'll only take it into consideration. But I think what we've seen recently is anything that can be taken into consideration is, we have no argument with violent people not having firearms. We don't think they should. Some with a violent criminal history or mental, of course they shouldn't. We don't want that less than anyone. I don't want it. I got to live in the community. We're all part of the community. But you know what we don't want? We want a fair legal system where if someone's found innocent, they're innocent, and that shouldn't be held against them later, or a minor thing they did 20 years or 30 years ago and was no conviction recorded. The magistrate did that for a reason, so they could get on with life. This is part of getting on with life. What if they're a farmer, like myself, and they need a firearm in their occupation? What if that's their only sporting outlet and it's their healthy part of being part of the community in their clay target club or their pistol club or whatever it is? This stuff's important. All you do is go to your member of parliament, local member of parliament. You're not arguing with them. You're just warning them that this is coming, because they don't know it yet. I can tell you, they haven't been approached yet, that they are attempting to do this, and just pre-warn them that it is essentially scoffing at Parliament's will from last year, because 100% of Queensland Parliament on your behalf as electors said, no, this isn't fair to include in that bill. And now the exact same thing is coming back around again. Anyway, wanted to bring that to you. There's written material out there. I'm sure there'll be lots to follow. Lots of people will have opinions, everything else. And once again, apologise for doing this in the middle of cattle yards. I just can't get away at the minute. Have a good one.